Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time, last primetime show of the week. Lovely to have you guys here. Easy for me to say. We are going to talk about Will Levis's fit in this Titans offense. Greg Cosell's analysis of it. We've been able to release the first of the several episodes, the several cut-ups of the Install Live show from last Saturday, and Will Levis was the first episode. Part one of Will Levis was the first episode that we released yesterday evening. We'll talk about the reports of Anthony Richardson and how well he's doing at Colts OTAs and talk about whether that's fair or foul to be getting too hyped up about the number 4 overall pick, and wrap things up with a weekend bounce back because it's our last segment of the week on the primetime show. We need to talk about who needs to bounce back in sports. Looks like the Celtics are well on their way to a bounce back, at least with 8 minutes to play, just about in the second quarter of this Eastern Conference Finals Game 5. Have a lot of stuff to get to and looking forward to diving into it with you guys. Need you to share this show wherever you're hanging out with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or on Twitch. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. I'll do it myself. That's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you are on Facebook Live like John Vargas or Omar Walton, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. YouTube or Twitch like Alex M. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, if you've done both of those things, tell a friend to do the same. And we will get into all these different things with more people as you guys continue to trickle in with tonight's show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by Superbook Sports. Go to superbook.com for terms and conditions. Plug in the promo code ATOZ, and they'll match your first bet up to $250. Superbook Sports is where you go to wager on all your favorite major sports. The Intel Edge is what you get at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com and get your dream address without the stress. The Ashton team will put you in position to succeed. GaryAshton.com for more information. And True Math Fitness in the Gulch, your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. The best workout plan, the best coaching staff, and the best facilities. TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free and all their great membership options. So as we look at all the different ways that Will Levis projects to work in this Titans offense, and while we're still looking at things like backup quarterback competitions playing out, we're starting to see things develop with Tim Kelly working on the field with both the veteran and rookie players at this point, now that everybody's, for the most part, back together with the exception of like 3 dudes at this stage. You see all these things that are starting to come together, and we're watching Will Levis in real time learn the Titans offense. So when he was drafted here, the question was, why did they feel he was a better prospect than, for example, Hendon Hooker? I think that's the first question that a lot of you guys had. And then secondarily was, all right, well, if this is what they are envisioning, is he the player that makes the most sense for this system? And I think they've come away with a pretty good fit based on everybody that you talk to. And one person that I talk to on a regular basis is Greg Cosell. Greg and I did about an hour on Will Levis from the live show, and you're going to hear a quick 2.5-minute clip of some of the discussion that we had around Will Levis. But first, I want to start with your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. In the comments section, if you want to let me know how you feel about this season statistical prediction for Will Levis. What do you envision if he gets on the field? Let's just, play a fun numbers game, right? What do you envision his stat line from his rookie season will be? Let's go passing yards, passing touchdowns, and interceptions. Passing yards, passing touchdowns, and interceptions. What do you envision will be Will Levis's statistical contribution to the 2023 Titans? We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is made possible by Two Rivers Ford. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet for quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service, and honesty and integrity for 40 years. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, powered by Ford, driven by people. So what is your statistical projections for Will Levis? Because ESPN They've taken a look at each of the rookie quarterbacks in each of their situations and put out statistical projections based on what they think this season could look like for each of the top picks. So Bert found this article, and it's their fantasy football projections. The experts at ESPN's fantasy football website are predicting Will Levis to throw for 629 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They've also included for their purposes 63 total rush yards and a completion percentage of 60.8%. Sam Phelan, for those of you who are looking for some more information on it, wrote an article about this for A2ZSports.com, so you can check that out as well to get more information and to hear Sam's or read Sam's assessment of it. If he starts all year, 2,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions for Jeff Rubel. Adam Maroney says 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That would be incredible efficiency at that point. One would assume that he would be the starting quarterback. Nope, a healthy Tannehill keeps him on the bench all season, says Corey Smith. And yes, in a perfect world, I think that is how this would go. But as you look at Will Levis and what he might be able to contribute, what he might have to offer, I think there's a variety of different reasons why this fit makes a lot of sense. So should he see the field, even if it is in his rookie year, before he's quite ready, it sounds like he'll be able to at least operate in this system better than Malik Willis looked like he was able to handle last year. This was Greg Cosell's analysis from the latest episode of our podcast called The Install. For Will Levis, why does he make sense here in Tennessee with an offense that, with Mike Vrabel, with Derrick Henry, the way that it's constructed, why does that fit work?
And one reason it really does is because he played a lot under center, because he ran, as I said, the Rams, the 49ers concepts. So he played under center, the play action game. And another thing to keep in mind, when you turn your back to the defense, that's also a learned trait. You know, a lot of college quarterbacks, they're in the shotgun on every single snap. They never turn their back to the defense. So when you turn your back to the defense, you have to remember one thing. The defense is not going to be in the same place that it was before you turned your back. So, you know, that becomes a learned trait. It's a little scary for a quarterback that's never done it before. Will Levis has done that. And a lot of the concepts, pass game concepts that I saw when I watched the University of Kentucky, you see those same concepts in the NFL. So he's familiar with those concepts, how to read those concepts versus defense. These are things he's familiar with. Now, again, that doesn't mean, if he were to get an opportunity to play early, that doesn't mean he's going to go out there and go 30 for 40 for 400 yards.
Right.
But it just means that he's aware of this. You're not starting from scratch. He has an understanding of the reading progressions with these specific concepts against specific coverages.
That is from the Install with Greg Cosell, the live show that we did. The first portion of that has been released, and it's primarily focused on Will Levis. We also talk a lot about Greg's background, how he got into the job that he did at NFL Films as the nephew of the great Howard Cosell, of course, who many of you know and who many of you and your parents grew up watching on Monday Night Football and boxing and things of that nature. So you look at all the different ways that Will Levis might be able to help this Titans team, and it does feel like he is going to be a more natural fit for what they want to do. Now the question is, how much of that as a projection is based on how the Titans have been running offense in previous seasons versus what the Titans offense is going to look like in this coming season under Tim Kelly. And I think for the most part, you know, we expect this to look basically like the Titans offense that we've been most familiar with. I'll explain what I mean here in just a second, right after I remind you that Primetime is made possible by Superbook Sports. Promo code ATOZ, that's A2Z, is how you get your first bet matched up to $250 in the Superbook Sports app. Whether you're betting Game 5 between Boston and Miami, whether you've been on the Florida Panthers to their improbable Stanley Cup run, all of your favorite major sports you can wager on at Superbook Sports. So download the app today, Match your first bet up to $250 with promo code ATOZ. Terms and conditions, superbook.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So statistically, as far as projections go, ESPN is not expecting him to see the field a whole lot. And obviously, I don't think anybody is, as long as Ryan Tannehill remains healthy this season. Should he get in? I think 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions is a safe bet based on what we've seen from Will Levis. I think that what Will Levis is, what his contributions might be if they are in a situation where their offensive line is improved. We won't know that, obviously, until we start to see this unit working together. But the offense is largely going to be the same. What I would like to see is more play action on first down, more play action on early downs, certainly. And I think I would like to see them, kind of move away from this idea that they need to run it as often as they do in the effort to, quote unquote, establish the run. That was something Greg and I talked about a lot on the podcast, a philosophical conversation that I think is worth your while. So for more information on that and for more Will Levis analysis, you can go check out the latest episode of The Install. Dean says, he reminds me of a rookie year Josh Allen. Allen was just so much more erratic, right? Like Will Levis is, I understand why Will Levis and the word erratic might make sense based off his last season. So I can't completely remove it from the conversation. But I do think that there are some similarities between them. They are both physically imposing. They are both incredibly raw and talented players. I think Josh Allen was much more of a project than Will Levis might be, though Will Levis is not by any stretch of the imagination like a finished project or a finished product at this stage of his career. I don't think, I think that they have a fair amount of work to do with him. And, he may work, he may not at this stage. But I am fascinated to see how it works. And I do think that there are plenty of reasons to think that it will work well. So as we look at all these different quarterback situations in Tennessee, obviously 2 teams in the AFC South got new quarterbacks, new starting quarterbacks, and the Colts with Anthony Richardson, and of course the Houston Texans drafting C.J. Stroud 2nd overall. The question I want to ask you is this in the comment section: fair or foul? Reports of Anthony Richardson doing, quote, next level stuff at OTAs. I'm going to read you this report from Pro Football Focus here in just a second. We can talk about whether it is fair or foul for that to be the analysis of Anthony Richardson at this point. Before we do that, I will remind you that Primetime is presented by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com and get your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found courtesy of the Ashton team. Nobody has better information on the best properties the way that Gary Ashton does. So go to GaryAshton.com for the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators and of me with the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. So fair or foul? Reports of Anthony Richardson doing next level stuff at Colts OTAs. Let's see. Nav454 on YouTube says fair. I'd look next level compared to the last few Colts quarterbacks. That's a fair estimation. They have struggled. Alex M says fair. It's a black quarterback driven league. Well, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Like the face of the league right now is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, obviously a black quarterback. Jalen Hurts, his competition in the Super Bowl, black quarterback, right? Famously, the first Super Bowl where 2 black starting quarterbacks were competing against each other. I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily think the racial component is why Anthony Richardson is doing next level stuff, but certainly that has been a trend in the last couple of years where we've seen more opportunities and more black starting quarterbacks in the league. Jacob Ray says fair. They can report all they want. It matters what they do on the field. And, this is what we're seeing on the field at this point. What's the fair or foul? I missed it, says Bryce. Well, it's Anthony Richardson and his next level, quote unquote, next level performances at OTAs right now. So this is what the report reads. Shane Steichen said at his Thursday press conference, said today, that Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew are splitting first team reps Everything is an evaluation. And Steichen added that Richardson has made some big plays, specifically today he made some big plays, and was able to operate with some next level stuff. His short time on the field for the team thus far, they obviously are hoping that development continues, but it seems like they're pleased with his progress. I think that when you look at what Anthony Richardson is going to be able to do, and the questions that we have about what he'll be able to do, I think that Shane Steichen is a really, really good match for him, and that coaching staff will put him in a system that allows him to ease into the NFL while starting right away before he might otherwise be ready. The dude needs to play, and the reps that he's getting at practice, it sounds like he's benefiting from it. Obviously, Titans fans don't love to hear that, but I think that this is going to be a fun division to watch play out in the next couple of years, given all four of these young quarterbacks, including Trevor Lawrence, on the uptick at this point. Speaking of uptick, let's do a weekend bounce back. Who needs to bounce back this weekend in sports on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch? We will discuss at length together right after I remind you that True Math Fitness is where you go for the best possible workout. TrueMathFitness.com is how you get signed up for your first workout free. They helped me drop 54 pounds at True Math Fitness, and I could not be more grateful to their coaching staff. I love the workout plans that they put together. I love that they're never recycled or repeated, so it always feels like I'm doing something different, so you're not lulled into this plateauing that many of us do when we work out on our own time. 40 minutes is all it takes to get in and out for one of their boot camp style group classes. And if you don't vibe with that, personal training is a great option as well. TrueMathFitness.com for all their great membership options and for your first workout free. So, who needs to bounce back this weekend in sports? Kevin Warren, says Jeff Rubel, needs a huge bounce back. Yeah, man. Well, the Big Ten, because Kevin Warren did a good enough job to get I mean, you could argue that being the team president and CEO of the Chicago Bears is not necessarily a promotion from being a conference commissioner at that level, but it seems that Kevin Warren, who did a lot of different things, or had a lot of different ground to cover in his 3 short years as commissioner of the Big Ten, right? He made one of the most controversial decisions in college athletics by initially having the Big Ten not play football in the pandemic. I think that what they did in getting USC and UCLA to the Big Ten to put together this television deal is monumental as well. But it sounds like that he got his new job and left them with a deal that was not completely done, a $7 billion deal that was not finished, that the fine print was not worked out, and that apparently a lot of the Big Ten member institutions, coaches, athletic directors who were looking at this as how that was going to impact their bottom line in years to come are all looking around being like, what the hell just happened here? And now the new Big Ten commissioner is having to piece this thing back together. So yeah, I would say that's a fair bounce back candidate. Mine was going to be the Miami Heat, but they seem incapable of a bounce back tonight. They're currently trailing 58-41 with under 2 minutes to play in the first half of this Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston showing life a little bit last week, or a little bit last game, getting their first win of the series, and still being a Vegas betting favorite at home in ways that have been surprising to me. But they are certainly showing why Vegas was accurate in that assessment, and we will see if they can't make this a more interesting series. But bounce back is Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard, who is not president of Titans OTAs, but still active and still out there on social media, posted a workout video today with a former Titans teammate. So that's Logan Ryan, former Titans corner, and Kevin Byard working out together right now. Not KB, not at OTAs. Nobody's sweating it at this point, but still out there, still visible, still letting everybody know that he's in the gym, keeping up with his training, and doing so with a former teammate who I know he remains close with in Logan Ryan. don't believe Logan is on an NFL roster right now. He was most recently with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but always that was a fun collection of players that they had with the MMCMB season of My Man Catch No Balls, right? That was a whole thing. They had t-shirts. It was a fundraiser thing. And it seems a little silly to think about it now within those terms, but they had a moment, that collection of Titans defensive players, and they're certainly trying to put that success back together in the meantime. It's going to do it for us tonight on the Primetime Show. Thanks for hanging out all week long. We appreciate you guys. Check out the radio show podcast today if you missed any of it, unless you're Bert. Bert was required to miss the entire final hour because we put his ass in timeout. But I will say that you should check out what I thought was the best part of the radio show today, which was the interview that we did with Arden Key, the new Titans edge rusher. He was very, very engaging. He was a willing participant in our stupidity, and we had a lot of fun with him, and I think learned a little bit about one of the newest players on the Titans roster. So go check that in the podcast feed. Stephen Birdwell says, "Where is Bert? He's behind the scenes on this show," which we may leave him behind the scenes for the rest of time based on his behavior today and continued behavior, of which I'm sure that this will have zero impact on how he carries himself professionally into the future. Of that, I am quite certain. Have a great rest of your night. Radio show tomorrow at 10 a.m. Coach Dave McGinnis will be on, as is the custom. And if I don't catch you guys then, Sunday, no Sunday night show because it's Memorial Day weekend. And I'm taking a long weekend. Bert deserves a long weekend. Oh, Bert deserves damn anything right now. Either way, we're not on Sunday. I'll talk to you guys Monday night.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.